Hello, hello, hello. Normally, I would just give you a preview of what we're talking about today, but because we're talking about fears all month, I want to tell you a brief story. About 5 minutes before, well, let's say 10 minutes before I was about to go live, I walked into my studio, which is in my nice little room, and there was a baby lizard in the room. And I noticed it when I walked to turn the lights on, and there was this lizard. I saw something scurry past my foot, and I went, oh no, oh my goodness. So I knew it was a lizard. I saw it. It was a baby. It was still white, almost translucent, and its tail was just starting to get stripes. So I went to the kitchen to find to-go cups because we keep to-go cups to drink coffee from in the morning. Went to find to-go cups. I couldn't find the to-go cups, but I did finally find them. Long story short, I got the cup. I got a top. I knew exactly what I needed to do. I needed to trap that baby lizard in the cup, and then I could pick up the cup and take it outside where it belongs. I'm telling you this because my husband would tell you that 20 years ago, I would never have done that. I would have called him. I would have called my daughter, who's here eating her dinner. I would have left the room and I would have said, forget the live stream, or I would have moved somewhere else. But today, I overcame a big fear that I once had, and I'm on time. We're going to get to our topic, our fear, in just one moment. Hi there. You are watching Stress Talk Live with Marcyline. This is where we work on your emotional and mental health from the inside out. I'm so glad you could join me today. Our topic is fear because this is the month of October, and Halloween is what is it, next Sunday or next Monday? And you see all these haunted houses popping up. You see all these goblins and ghosts and ghoulies and things popping up. So we're talking about fear and how fear increases our stress levels. I briefly shared with you a fear that I once had of lizards. We have a lot of lizards around our house. And because we live in the South, it's not unusual for one to get in the house every once in a while. And that's exactly what happened right before I came on. There was a lizard in the house, a little baby lizard, of course, but still a lizard. I've been able to grow out of my fear of lizards. Of course, I won't touch them, but I knew what I needed to do to get it out of the house. So it survived, thank goodness, and I survived as well. Today, we're going to talk about one of the underlying fears that we have. The topic is how mature women tame fears and easily take control of stress. And so we're going to talk about a very big fear that many of us have. Thank you for the thumbs up. That many of us have. And next week, I want you to know that this is a two-parter. So be sure to watch next week as well, because I'm going to go over a couple of other underlying fears that impact and influence our stress levels. So this is part one of how mature women tame fears and easily take control of stress. Before I get to that, though, I do want to encourage you to like, follow, and subscribe to ML Bailey Consultants. You'll find us on Facebook and you'll also find us on YouTube. I really want to encourage you to do so because in November, we're going to start our Black Friday promotion. And I have some good stuff to share with you. Things that I think will help you to get through the holidays without losing it. So make sure you like, follow, and subscribe so you can get notifications about our Get Through the Holidays Without Losing It months in November and December. Okay, so let's get to our main topic of the day. We are talking about vulnerability. Vulnerability. Yes, vulnerability. No one wants to be vulnerable, right? Because we view being vulnerable as being weak. If I show my vulnerability, I will be weak. Others will take advantage of me. Others will lord over me. I will allow them power over me. But vulnerability is not showing weakness. Being vulnerable allows us to be open. We can be open to the possibilities. We can be open to making connections with others. We can be open to potential that's right before us. So, being vulnerable, when we say we don't want to be vulnerable, we're actually saying to ourselves and to others, we don't want to be rejected and we don't want to be abandoned. So if I'm vulnerable in front of you, if I show my vulnerabilities, then I risk your rejecting me and abandoning me. That's what many of us think. And when we have a fear of being vulnerable, especially in our homes, in our workplace, in particular in the workplace, in our workspace, as well as our community, it holds us back. It holds us back. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit as we progress through our topic today. I want to share with you, those are things that being vulnerable, we think that being vulnerable means, right? But I want to share with you what it can actually do for us when we are vulnerable, not in the sense of showing our weaknesses or our perceived weaknesses, but in the sense of showing or opening the doors, opening the windows, opening the curtains so that we can not only see out, we can also entertain conversations. I talked about possibilities, I talked about potential, and I also talked about connection. When we are vulnerable in that sense, when we're looking at potential, when we're looking at connection, and we're looking at possibilities, we are actually enabling ourselves to gain confidence. We can gain confidence in who we are and in our abilities to connect with others. It also enables us to express compassion for others, empathy for others, and as I said before, to make and build stronger connections with those around us, whether that is at home, in the community, or in our workplace. It's very easy, especially in the workplace, to avoid presenting ourselves as being vulnerable. We want to be strong and we want to present a strong, make a strong presentation. But sometimes it is very helpful to, again, allow yourself the opportunity to be open. I was sharing with my family that I had a wonderful meeting with my supervisor. We were talking about a number of things, and she started talking about making sure that our documentation is up to date. And she was giving me some information about that. And I actually said, are you talking about me? And she said, no, if I was talking about you, I would tell you. The point I'm making is that I allowed myself to share with her that, yes, I am also behind in my documentation. I have given myself a deadline now to catch up, but I allowed that space to connect with her in a different way. Again, that was a confidence booster to me that she wasn't addressing me. She would clearly said she has been looking at our documentation. She knows what I'm doing. So it was a confidence booster to me in that sense. But again, when we are vulnerable in the sense of making connection, um, looking at possibilities, and looking at potential that's around us, it enables us to gain confidence, to experience and to extend compassion to others as well as ourselves, to also extend empathy, and to build stronger connection in the form of relationships. One of the key things that we must do in order to be able to appear or to be vulnerable in front of others or just in our lives is we have to be able to accept and embrace our true selves. We want to be authentic. When we are authentic with ourselves, it's a big boost in confidence. And it also enables us to lower our stress levels. Why? Because we're being real. We don't have anything to hide. We don't have anything to prove. And we are accepting of who we are. We embrace our own self worth. Oftentimes, when we feel as if our vulnerability is a detriment, it's because we do not accept and embrace our true selves. We have an image or a perception or a picture of us that isn't accurate. Remember the saying that our thoughts are not always true. Our thoughts are not always true. We can think something, but that doesn't mean that it's the truth. We want to be able to present an authentic self, not only to the world around us, but also to ourselves. So, we're talking about an underlying fear, which is vulnerability. We fear being vulnerable in front of other people and in our environments. I've talked about how being vulnerable can, it can help us to gain confidence, how it can also enable us to extend compassion, empathy, as well as to build strong connections to those around us. And in order to do that, we must be accepting of our true selves. We must embrace who we really are, and we must strive to be authentic, not only with ourselves, but with others. So let's go on to the next point. Well, let me ask this. Do you all, I know that I often have difficulty being vulnerable in front of other people. Just think to yourselves. You don't have to post it in the chat. Just think to yourselves. Do you too have difficulty being vulnerable? And do you think of being vulnerable as being weak? Yes. Hello, Allison from Cincinnati. It's good to see you. It's very good to see you. Yes, absolutely. Authenticity requires vulnerability. It really does. When we are authentic, it just opens a whole new pathway to opportunities for us. It is really very affirming, and it enables other people to have an opportunity to glean from our gifts. right? Yeah. Thank you, Alice. Thank Allison. I had Alice on my mind. Thank you, Allison, for that. For that, I appreciate that. So let's go on to the next point. Another point about vulnerability is that when we have a fear of being vulnerable, we also tend to, um, oh, thank you, Rosanna Lucius King. Thank you. I appreciate that. You said that, yes, indeed. Thank you for the lesson. Yes, it is a big lesson. It's something that we all need to work towards. And it's just a different way of looking at what vulnerable means. It's not always about being weak in front of others. It's about the opportunities and the possibilities that we have when we are authentic with ourselves and with other people. So when we have a fear of being vulnerable, we have a fear of vulnerability. It informs our insecurity. We tend to be very insecure, right? We may isolate ourselves from opportunities. Remember, I keep throwing that word out, opportunities. We may isolate ourselves from opportunities. We also may isolate ourselves from potential, our very own potential. And when we are insecure, oftentimes it's because we have a self-defeating attitude. It's almost like we're Eeyore, Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Eeyore always has, oh, everything is so bad. Oh, I'm just going to go over here and sit down. Eeyore is like everything is just so bad for him. It's like he's never happy. And sometimes we can be that way too. And it's not just about happiness, it's about we look at things when we have a self defeating attitude, we look at things as if good does not come to us. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, it actually invites good to come to us. It invites opportunity, invites potential. The other thing about being insecure and isolating ourselves is that we often have negative thoughts. We ruminate negatively, very similar to Eeyore. Oh, I can't do this. I can't do this. This is not going to work out for me. This is not going to be good for me. This is going to make me look bad. This is going to make me look weak. We have repeated messages that we say over and over and over again. And that is self defeating. As a result, again, we don't allow ourselves the opportunity to connect with others. And this prevents other people from enjoying our true selves, our authentic selves, and it also prevents them from gleaning from our gifts and our gifting. Think about that. As you're going through your day, how often do you hold back because you think or you believe that if you're vulnerable in front of someone, it's not going to be a good thing? Often, if you're open to the possibilities, you allow them the blessing of gleaning from what you bring to the table. And again, it may open doors of opportunity that you never even considered. So, here's the third thing that I want to share with you as it relates to the fear of vulnerability. Sometimes that's a tongue twister. It's important, as I said before, to accept and love your true self. Being authentic. Authenticity is king and queen. It is the bomb. Be who you are. Be who you are. When you're moving in your true self, that's the best self you can be, really. It is the best self you can be. And you'll be like a magnet drawing good things to you, drawing people who are affirming, drawing people who are compassionate and empathetic, drawing people who are positive to you in the space that you're in. When you're authentic and accepting of your true self, it means that you're not striving for perfection. Thank you. Thank you for the thumbs up. You're not striving for perfection. Throw that word out the window. Perfection. What is that? Perfection is a made up term that we use to measure ourselves against. But throw perfection out the window, because perfection varies depending on the perception of whoever's using that term, right? You want to strive to do your best. Be the best you can be. Be you. Just be you. Be the best you can be. That's something that my husband and I always told our daughters. Just be you. Do you. You know that phrase? Do you. Just be you. Be the best that you can be. Be your best self. Allow people to see your authenticity and allow people to see you in your true form. I think it's worked for them. I think it's really worked for them. When we are accepting and love our true selves, we also can extend compassion and empathy to ourselves. I talk a lot about self-compassion. Self-compassion is really extending, having the desire to help yourself and taking action to do so. When we're compassionate with others, when we extend compassion to others, we have the desire to help them. But we also take steps to do it. We don't just have the desire, we actually take steps to help them. And we should show ourselves some self-compassion as well. We should extend compassion to ourselves, right? Be my best self. There you go, Allison. That's right. Be my best self. That really should be everybody's phrase for the week. We need to remind ourselves every day, I'm going to be my best self. Thank you, Allison. Thank you for that. So we want to extend compassion and empathy to ourselves. Also, being vulnerable allows us to learn from our mistakes. I don't know anybody who hasn't made a mistake. I have. Raise your hand. You don't have to put it in the chat, but just raise your hand to yourself and say, yes, I've made mistakes. I've made mistakes. But we should take the opportunity to learn from those mistakes. If we're still standing, if we're still walking, then hey, we can learn from those mistakes. And that is the key. When we're vulnerable, we can not be critical of ourselves because we made a mistake. We can use it as a learning opportunity. And then, last but not least, when we accept and love our true selves, we have no reason to prove our value or our worth. We can accept that we are valued and we are valuable and we are worthy. We spend a lot of time trying to prove our value and our self-worth when we really don't have to. All we have to do is, as Allison said, be our best selves. That's all we can ask for, to be our best selves. So I've just gone through several points of vulnerability, and this is the first part of how mature women tame fear and easily take control of stress. This is just part one. I'm going to ask you all again to like, follow, and subscribe, because next week I'm going to make a big announcement about our Get Through the Holidays Without Losing It series. I always do this every year in the month of November and December. Also, please join me every Sunday. You know, I'm here on every Sunday, except when I'm like going to my college reunion or something of that nature. But I'm here 7 p.m. on Sundays talking about stress and how we can help you to heal from the inside out as we work on your mental and emotional health. Well, that's all for now. I'm Marcyline Bailey. As always, take good care.